close your eyes now, you know where your right knee is.
The letter H would be a kind of light brown colour.
That sense of space and location
The letter B would be a dark blue colour.
mingles with my sense of vision.
2 would be yellow, 3 would be green.
So I have a complete visual sense in my mind's eye of where I am in space. I have timelines for all of my grandparents, great-grandparents, and I think 16 great-great-grandparents.
So whenever I'm reading words, I'm always imagining the colours that come along with that.
What I see in my mind's eye is so visually rich and interesting.
If I meet someone new, I'll have a colour that I associate with that name. When I was a really young kid, I assigned colours to all the letters and numbers.
From the age of 3, I knew exactly what the colours of the week were in colour, shape and size.
And whenever a teacher would write it in a different coloured pen to what was right for me, it would really annoy me.
Monday is shaped like a small circular saw, and it's olive green, and it sits on a little cream tile. We get on to Saturday. That's a lovely little pile of 7 coloured licorice all sorts.
And the other type of synesthesia that I have is auditory visual. So that's where sound is perceived as a visual image, such as a shape or a colour or a texture. I'm a producer and a composer of music. So depending on the instrument, I see a variety of different shapes. So for a solo piano, I would tend to see an oval, and that could be pink if it's maybe played towards the bottom of the piano, and then more cream depending on if it's played towards the higher end. I've had a very different response to music from other people because my mind's eye and my synesthesia lead me to try to make sense of it all, and I just think it's too much overload. And when I am alone, I have silence around me all the time. A flute would be a hazy grey line. If you were to touch it, it would almost feel like running your hand through the grains of sand. If it's an electronic piece of music, then you can create your own shapes. Sound, to me, and not music, is very comforting. I think, again, it's because of my visual way of looking at things in my mind's eye. All types of music can give me an emotional feeling that makes me feel deeply sad. I don't write out words. I prefer to just sit down at a laptop and with like synthesizers in front of me and create like a whole variety of new sounds. I'm able to visualize the mix and able to visualize everything that I'm writing, everything that I'm composing. I can see in my head, I can see all the different instruments, I can see how I want it to shape out in my head, and I'm able to kind of map that out before I write it, and then when I'm producing it in software I can see it all, and I think it probably has had a beneficial impact on my writing and production process. I prefer just to experiment with sounds and then see what comes out. Maybe it's more pure that way, I don't know. I can listen to the jolliest, happy, upbeat music and that still will go to the core of me. The most common misconception with the auditory visual synesthesia is that it's seen in the eye rather than in the mind. Although I find synesthesia absolutely wonderful, it has caused me to suffer deeply. When I've experienced events in life that are very traumatic, such as death of a loved one, I will have that picture of what's happened in my mind's eye forever and a day. It was particularly traumatic for me when my beloved father died a few years ago. I've got lovely visions of us enjoying times together, but his death, I can't get that vision out of my mind's eye. I understand that everybody has traumas to go through and they do have pictures of it, but if you're not a spatial sequential synesthete, you're not going to have that vision in your mind's eye that's as real as looking at a photograph in front of you 24 hours a day. Up until I start painting, I am aware of my spatial synesthesia, I suppose. I start to paint and I'm totally absorbed and relaxed
watching the paint flow.
I've never felt overstimulated, and whenever I've had quite a strong response, I've always found it to be quite good.
I can see it making its own shapes and sizes and patterns.
There's been pieces of music that have really given me a whole bombardment of shapes and colours, but I've never found that to be too overwhelming.
It's almost like a form of meditation. I don't get any sadness from it as I do from music. I only get a sense of peace and joy and colours and shape. Have always done that to me anyway.
If I was creating a piece of music that was quite a smooth, relaxing piece of music, I'd probably gravitate towards sounds that created blues and greens, whereas if I'm creating a piece of music that's meant to be a bit more in your face, a bit more loud, danceable, I'd probably move towards colours that were more reds and yellows and oranges, warmer colours that create more distorted and crunched sounds.
I've already decided whether I'm going to do a flip cup pour or a tree ring pour or a swipe or a balloon dip. If I had a studio that I had all the paints in all the time, I think I'd be doing it 24 hours a day, just stopping for a meal and comfort place. I love it.
I'm sure everyone's got it in them to interpret a piece of artwork in some way, so I'd really like to see if that can be done. I definitely wouldn't want to get rid of my synesthesia because it's really interesting and helps me to experience the world in more than just the normal way.
I see it as a wonderful, enriching gift. And why would I want to get rid of that? Now I know that not everybody has it. It's quite nice having something that's a bit different. I like being special. Why shouldn't I be?